Hello, Miss BT here, and I'm going to conduct the first two parts of our Speedy Solutions experiment. So hopefully you have all of your materials ready, or if not, just watch and follow along. Here are all the materials that you will need for Speedy Solutions. We need sugar, water of 3 temperatures, a tablespoon if you want to measure with a spoon, or a food scale if you want to measure your sugar in milliliters. You need a jar or a beaker, and something to stir your mixture with. Also, in case any of you were curious, 1 tablespoon of sugar is the same as 15 milliliters. So if you're comfortable using a food scale, that's a good way to measure your sugar in milliliters, or just get it yourself a tablespoon. Sorry, this noise is probably terrible. So I have my 1 tablespoon, and I have it in my jar. I'm not going to show measuring each one just to save time, but you're just going to put it in your jar or your cup or whatever you can find at home. And I actually have my ice cold water sitting in the freezer for a few minutes to cool it down so it's actually ice cold temperature. So just a reminder that this experiment is connected to the particle theory. So knowing that particles move faster and spread further apart when they're heated, keep that in mind when you're making your observations here. So for the first temperature of water, we have 250 milliliters of ice cold water, which I put in my freezer for about 20 minutes. And I have 15 milliliters, otherwise known as 1 tablespoon of sugar. So we are going to time how long it takes for this ice cold water and sugar to dissolve inside of it. Well, for the sugar to dissolve inside of the ice cold water, rather. So remember, water is the universal solvent and sugar is the solute in this experiment. So I'm going to pour the water into the jar, and then I'm going to stir it and time how long it takes for the water and sugar to mix together. So remember, we're just stirring it, just a normal stir. You don't need to do it too rigorously. So take note, I've stirred it for a little bit. Is it fully transparent? Is my hand a little blurry? Do you still see sugar particles? I can see some at the bottom there. I'm gonna keep stirring. So make sure you're making observations and you're writing these down in your unit binders. So observations are really important here because we want to know what you see and what you think is going on. And based on what we know about particle theory, what observations do you think we would be making when we have ice cold water as our solvent? Still see some sugar there at the bottom. So I'm just going to keep stirring. Maybe make some predictions how long you think I will be stirring this for. Still stirring. I still see some sugar particles. It is getting more transparent. Still see some sugar particles, you can see them down there on the bottom, but you can definitely see increased transparency here. Still see a little bit of particles at the bottom. Let me know what you observe. I'm just going to pause here, make some observations and reflections in your unit binder. For this part, I'm going to use room temperature water and 1 tablespoon of sugar inside a mason jar. So as you can see, I have my 15 milliliters or 1 tablespoon of sugar in this jar, and then I have my water poured out in here. So I'm going to slowly pour it in. This is the room temperature water. So what do we notice? Is it transparent? Make some observations in your unit binder. I'll move the jar a little closer. Just gonna stir. I still see lots of sugar in here. Just stir it a little bit. So just make any observations that you see in your unit binder. We're looking to see, is it transparent? Can we see through?
Thank you, Miss BT. So now that we've seen the effects of cold water and room temperature water, let's examine hot water. So let me angle my camera down. So I have the same materials as Miss BT, except this is hot water. I don't know if you can see the steam. And then condensation around here. So this is 250 milliliters of hot water. In this mason jar, I put 15 milliliters, which is 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then got my stirring stick right here. So before we start the experiment, I want you to write down what you think is going to happen to the sugar in your unit binders. All right, let's see what happens. So I have my hot water here. If you're doing this experiment yourself, just be very careful because it's very hot. You see the steam? Got my stirring stick.
Here we go. That's it.
Okay, so let's observe what it looks like right now. So write down in your unit binder what the solution looks like. So I can see that it's transparent because I can still see myself through it. I can also see that the sugar is completely dissolved, almost completely. So write down in your unit binder why you think this happened according to the particle theory of matter. So if we are thinking about the particle theory of matter, which part of it states that once a molecule or a particle is heated up, it's moving a lot faster. So when a particle is moving a lot faster, its bonds are weaker. So you can see even like when I pour this hot water, and you can see the steam coming off of it. That's an example of its bonds breaking, its hydrogen bonds breaking, because you have a liquid as well as a gas. So what happens is when the bonds in water, H2O, so 2 hydrogens on an oxygen, they're weaker, it's easier for it to bond to a molecule like sugar. And yeah, that's it. So if that was your prediction, then you're right.
That the point of this experiment is connected.